Who wants to pay hundreds of dollars a night on a Disney World hotel only to have things go terribly wrong? Not you, that's for sure. So let's figure out what things you should never, ever, ever do in a Disney World hotel room today on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Vlog. Now, Disney World hotels can be your own little oasis to quickly escape whatever you need to when you're in the parks, but they can also get you into heaps of trouble if you're not careful. And I'm not just talking about getting in trouble with Disney, but getting in trouble with your family. So we're going to discuss both spoken and unspoken hotel rules that'll not just keep your conscience clear, but will keep you and your group happy and comfortable for the entire trip, which, trust me, is quite the accomplishment. Let's start by addressing an important issue that's caused quite a divide with families in the past, mine included. The first thing you don't want to do in a Disney World hotel room is ditch the wiggle room. Warning, this is one of the leading causes of family fights in Disney World hotel rooms, and that's being up in each other's personal business. When you're booking a Disney World hotel, each room's description should tell you what the maximum capacity is. For standard rooms, you'll be able to sleep up to 4 people. For rooms that are a little more spacious, like a deluxe or a family suite, you might be able to sleep up to 6. And then there are the multi-bedroom options over at the deluxe resorts that'll give you an ample amount of room at a way steeper price point, aka you're going to want to split that bill with other group members if possible. But let's go back to those standard 4-person rooms. Just because your hotel says there's a max number of people per room doesn't mean that when you hit that limit, you're going to feel comfortable. Those standard rooms for a family of 4 can still feel very cramped, like the Little Mermaid rooms over at the Art of Animation Resort, for example. These rooms might have 2 queen-sized beds available, which is great because they used to only have double beds in those hotels. But you're looking at piling 4 people into a 277 square foot room for potentially an entire week with only 1 bathroom. And that means different stressful situations could pop up that you weren't expecting to deal with, especially when everybody's kind of at peak stress level anyway, because you're not getting good sleep, you're spending a ton of money, you're kind of fighting over what you want to do in the parks. I don't know, is this too autobiographical? Maybe. But if one person's getting up in the middle of the night with tummy troubles, everyone's going to be aware of it. If you're sleeping next to someone who squirms in their sleep, you can't just opt to sleep somewhere else. If you want to shower after you get home from the parks, you might have to wait for 3 other people to shower, leaving you the last shift, which could take you well past midnight depending on everyone else. And that's not me saying you need to buy a multi-bedroom hotel room for way more space, because even 1 to 3 bedroom spaces can have their faults when you pack them out to reach maximum capacity. For example, let's say you decide to book a garden wing 1-bedroom suite over at Disney's Contemporary Resort. This room claims to sleep up to 5 adults, but take a closer look at the sleeping arrangements. In the description, the room says it features 1 king bed, 1 queen-sized sleeper sofa, and 1 twin-sized sleeper chair. Now, a sleeper chair may be more than enough for some folks in your group, especially if you've got a kid in your party, but a twin-size sleeper chair is not going to give an adult a lot of room. Believe me, I've slept on them before. It is not comfortable. So in short, just because a hotel room says you can fit a maximum number of occupants inside doesn't always mean that you should do that. Discuss different options with your family or your group to find out what everyone's personal preferences are going to be. You may not be able to accommodate each of these preferences reasonably, but it's good to have an idea about what everyone's thinking and what everyone's sort of prioritizing in their hotel room. If you think you're going to need lots more room so everyone's not at each other's throats by the end of the trip, you may even want to consider something outside the Disney hotel bubble, like a more affordable Good Neighbor hotel suite or a reliable Airbnb house. That way you can prevent potentially spending thousands of dollars per night on a Disney hotel room with a higher occupancy. But if you're determined to stay inside the Disney bubble with, say, a family of 4, you may want to look into a family suite instead of standard rooms if wiggle room is important to you. The most affordable family suites can be found over at the value-priced All-Star Music Resort, and those tend to range in price between $300 and $500 per night, which, let me tell you, is a really good deal on Disney World property. But if you're a party of 2 or even 3, a standard room should be just fine. Last option, you can also book 2 standard rooms and request that they are connecting rooms. That way you can maybe put 3 people in one room, 2 people in the other, and everyone's got enough space to spread out. Now, I understand that can run you up to $1,000 a night at many Disney hotels, and I get it. So again, if you need extra space, look into those Good Neighbor hotels or an Airbnb. All right, next thing you should never do in a Disney World hotel room, believe the lie. What you see is what you get. Upon your first sweep of your Disney World hotel room, you're going to see the essentials: beds, bathroom, TV with multiple Disney channels you'll probably play on repeat while you're there. But if there's something more that you need in your room to improve your stay, there are multiple other essentials you can actually ask for, like a pack and play, for instance. And if you've got a little one in your party, you may want to request a pack and play for your room. Since pack and plays are limited at the resorts, the earlier you put in this request, the better. You can let a cast member know ahead of your visit that you're going to need a place for your little one to sleep. Just reach out through the Disney World Guest Services chat window, the My Disney Experience app Chat With Us tab, or the Guest Services phone number. If you forget to ask for a pack and play in advance, you can always ask for a pack and play when you do get to the hotel, but there's definitely a chance they won't still be available. So the sooner you request, the better. And then there are those requests that can be made at any time, like extra towels, blankets, pillows, though you will automatically have extra bedding tucked in the top of your resort's closet too, usually. So remember to take a look. And Disney's usually okay about helping you out with a toothbrush or maybe a tiny tube of toothpaste. Stuff like that you may be able to get at the front desk, but if you can't, you can always go spend way too much for it at the gift shop. But if there is something that's missing from your hotel room, like you need an iron and they don't have an iron in there, or for some reason you can't find the remote control for your TV, just call down to Guest Services. They can always replace those things for you. Next thing you should never do in a Disney World hotel room is not make your preferences known. It's all about location, my friends, and since you're already on the topic of room requests, let's take things one step further. How can you request the best type of room location for you and your family? There are several different reasons why you may want to put in a specific room request. You might want to be closer to the lobby, or you might want to be closer to a Skyliner station. You could need a room on the bottom floor for easier accessibility, especially over at Disney's Caribbean Beach where elevators don't exist. Or in the case of somewhere like Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, you could try to get a partial Savannah view without paying the extra for a full view. Like I said, lots of reasons. So this is how you're going to put in a room request for a Disney World hotel room. Room requests can be done during your online check-in right before your trip on the My Disney Experience app. So upon check-in, you can make a room request by checking up to 2 requests in the online form. Those requests are usually the most commonly requested. If the specific request you're wanting to make isn't an option, you can always directly contact a Disney cast member via phone with that Guest Services number. Making a request doesn't guarantee you'll get the exact room you're wanting, but it does increase your chances since Disney will do anything in their power to make sure you're satisfied with your stay. It's always better to request certain room characteristics rather than a certain room itself. So if I wanted to stay in, say, room 9505 at Beach Club, which I literally don't know if there is a room 9505 at Beach Club, but the reason I want to stay there is because it's close to Epcot, it has a large balcony, and it's a corner room, so it has 2 sets of windows, then what I would say when I made my request is I would like a room that's close to Epcot, a corner room that has 2 sets of windows if possible, and a room with a large balcony. Now, those are 3 things that it's probably going to be impossible to get all together, but I can tell them which one of those particular requests is priority to me. I can say, if you can't get the large balcony or the corner room, which I know is going to be the hardest thing to get, then just getting me close to Epcot would be great. And they understand that that's my priority, but if I can get the other things as well, that'd be great. But again, depending on how busy the resort is and how soon you make that request, it's very possible that they're not going to be able to do any of those things for you. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. So don't make it weird. Now, at some hotels, they have actually worked certain amenities into the price points of the room. So you could have a room with a fireworks view at Wilderness Lodge. Instead of having to request it, you can actually just pay for it to be guaranteed. So if there are certain things you want, like being close to the lobby or close to the food, see if your hotel has something called preferred rooms or specific views that will get you what you want. If they do, you're going to have to pay for those things rather than request them, but at least you have the option to do that. Other examples of those are like a theme park view, a Savannah view over at Animal Kingdom Lodge, etc. Now, just be prepared for a major bump up in price if you are requesting a room that kind of has that amenity rolled into the nightly stay price. Because they could charge you easily a couple extra $100 for that Savannah view or that fireworks view. Now that may be worth it for you if you plan on spending several nights relaxing on your balcony or patio, taking in the sights and shows from the privacy of your own room. But that's your choice. Another thing you want to be careful of when you're in Disney World hotels is being too far away from the rest of your group. Now, you're not going to want to make things inconvenient for you and the people you're traveling with, especially if everyone's planning on staying at one of those super spread out hotels. For example, let's say you and your partner are planning on traveling with two of your very good friends, so both of your groups decide to get hotel rooms at Coronado Springs. But when you make those reservations separately, you might find on the day of your arrival that your room is in the Casitas section and their room is in the Cabanas section, and you're not familiar with the layout of this hotel. And FYI, those are on opposite sides of the hotel, so though that doesn't make plans impossible, it does make things a little trickier. That means you'll both have different bus stops to wait at to get to the parks, and hopping over to each other's rooms will take some time. So if you want to be closer to each other, then go ahead and make that request for a connecting room. That's going to give you a door between you and the other group, so you'll be close enough to visit each other, but you'll still have your own space. This is especially helpful for families as well. Larger families that need two rooms, it makes it very easy if you have a connecting door. Again, connecting rooms are limited, so it's not guaranteed you'll get one when you put in your request, but you can also try to request rooms in the same general vicinity, which may be an easier request to fulfill and will keep you from having to drag yourself all the way across the resort just to play a game of Uno. Okay, another thing you should not do in a Disney World hotel room, which I can vouch for from being in a Disney World hotel room last week, is don't leave the sleep aids at home. Now, I'm not talking about taking a bunch of melatonin. I'm talking about how thin these walls are. It doesn't matter whether you're staying at a value resort, a moderate resort, or a deluxe resort. Unless you're staying in a room that's not directly attached to another room, like the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness or the tree houses at Saratoga Springs, then there's a very high chance you're going to hear your next door neighbors at some point or another, thanks to the super thin hotel walls. This may not be a big deal. You may notice a giggle here, a little thump there, but nothing that's gonna really throw off your REM each night. But other times you could end up with neighbors who've got a crying baby who wakes up several times throughout the night. I know I've been there, I've been that person, I've had the baby. Or someone who saws logs in their sleep, or the door slammers who keep exiting their room for who knows why. And let's not just point fingers toward your neighbors. The people you're bunking with could also be snorers or sleep talkers or just generally noisy roommates that keep you from catching up on your sleep before your next full day in the parks. So don't abandon your sleep aids at home. Bring things like earplugs, white noise machines, noise-canceling headphones, or whatever you prefer using to keep things quiet and peaceful. Just bring them along because you don't have to use them, but they're there if you need them. Next thing you should never do in a Disney World hotel room is ignore the details. There could be hidden secrets lurking in your Disney hotel room, so keep your eyes peeled and take the time to appreciate the Imagineering going on. We're always so enamored when we go into the parks and we see so much of the creative engineering and Imagineering happening, but we don't always look for it in our own hotel rooms. And guess what? Those were created by Disney Imagineers too. For example, if you book a royal room over at Disney's Port Orleans Resort Riverside, find the button on the side of the headboard to activate an LED fireworks show across the bayou-inspired painting. If you're staying in a room with a Murphy bed, don't forget to pull that bed down from the wall. Even if you don't need the extra sleeping accommodation, they will often have hidden artwork of sleeping or lounging Disney characters featured above the mattress. My favorite hidden Murphy bed artwork has got to be the sleeping Pascal, who may be tucked away in your Disney Riviera room. And if you're staying in one of the standard rooms over at Disney's Yacht Club, check out those constellation curtains. Those aren't just any old constellations, those are Disney-fied constellations. So expect to see starry characters like Humanus Mightius, Hercules, Dragonus Impulsivus, Mushu, and Mousimus Jovialis. Can you guess that last one? Those are only a few of the many examples of how Disney keeps you immersed in the magic, even when you're outside the parks and getting ready to wind down for the night. So if you're gonna pay the money for your hotel room, take note of all the hidden Mickeys, the character Easter eggs, and fun little surprises waiting to be discovered. Okay, now the next thing you should never do in a Disney World hotel room, really never do this, is miss out on savings right under your nose. You think you're gonna miss Disney World when your vacation's over? Just imagine how Disney feels. Disney's gonna miss you so much. In fact, they're gonna offer you a really good deal on your next Disney World vacation while you're still in Disney World. Yeah, so these bounce back offers could be placed in your hotel room before the end of your trip, but you can always ask a front desk cast member or call the extension bounce back offer number on your hotel phone at 8844 if you're not seeing one in your room. The only big problem with these big savings, you'll have to make the decision to book your next Disney trip before your current one ends. And that's quite the decision to make while you're already in the midst of dropping thousands of dollars on your current vacation. If you really do plan on returning to Disney World later in the year, then don't miss out on these relatively hefty savings when they're available, but also make sure you already know you want to seal that second vacation deal before you head off toward your first trip, because savings or not, that's still a rather pricey impulse decision to make. That said, you can always cancel your trip if you're still within the cancellation period. Next thing to not do in a Disney World hotel room that I do all the time, overestimate your mini fridge. Listen, your resort mini fridge is doing the best it can, so don't push it to its limit. All Disney World resort rooms will at the very least have a mini fridge available in your room, which is great because when I started to go to Disney World, you had to ask for a mini fridge. Not all the rooms had them. Now they all do. And that's great if you've got any leftover desserts like cupcakes or cookies that you want to save for later, or if you want to keep a few bottles of water cool. But if you're relying on your mini fridge to help you save, say, an entire box of pizza or all your group's boxes of leftovers or even a whole load of groceries if you decide to order a bunch of produce from Instacart ahead of time, your poor mini fridge is not going to be able to handle the pressure. Looking for a Disney hotel room with a full-sized fridge? You got options. Most all Disney villas, which are at those Disney Vacation Club hotels, will have a full kitchen, meaning a full-sized fridge at your disposal unless you're staying in a studio. The cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness also have a full kitchen with a big kid fridge for a more moderate price point. Not to mention you'll also get a separate bedroom and living space and a private deck when you book a stay here. Bonus, before your arrival, you can actually buy groceries directly from Fort Wilderness to stock your cabin's fridge. No grocery app necessary. You can find the grocery pre-order form on the main Fort Wilderness page on the Disney World website under the overview. Once you've filled out your preferences, you'll send them over to the resort's email, or you can fax the form if you have a fax machine. There's also the snail mail approach. Really, there is, if you prefer that instead. Once you get to the resort, you'll be able to pick up your groceries at the Meadow Trading Post. Okay, I got sidetracked. Back to the fridges. Your cheapest full fridge option is going to be over at Disney's All-Star Music Value Resort. Those family suites, again, are not only the most affordable suites on property, but they're going to provide you with a separate bedroom living space, 2 bathrooms, a kitchenette area, and a full-sized fridge. So bring on the leftovers. Okay, the next thing to not do in your Disney World hotel room is waste your resources. Few things in life are better than a nice hot shower before bed or first thing in the morning, whichever you prefer, we don't judge. So don't squander this experience in Disney by depleting your towel supply. If you're planning on spending the afternoon hanging out at your resort's pool, towels will be provided, so there's no need to take them from your room. And if you decide to hit up one of the quieter pools for a more relaxing swim, but you don't see any nearby towels, you can always swing by your hotel's feature pool where towels would be overly abundant. But if you do accidentally take a towel from your hotel bathroom, it's really not the end of the world. You'll just have to remember to request more towels be sent up to your room before you hop in the shower that morning or evening. Also, speaking of resources, remember those H2O products are going to be retired at the end of this year. So if you happen to have a Disney trip before 2023 and you love those H2O products, you need to really, really love them while you're there in the next month and a half. Okay, next thing to never do inside a Disney World hotel room is neglect an important underrated feature. Don't want to oversleep on your Disney World vacation? Mickey can help with that. After you get all settled into your hotel room, check out that hotel phone on the nightstand. Yeah, I know it's not nearly as high-tech as the phone you have, but it does have the ability to directly connect you to several unique resort features, including that very special wake-up call. Scheduling a wake-up call is easy. You just got to press that wake-up call button, then an automated system will walk you through the rest of the steps from there. But what happens after you set it all up? In the morning, expect your hotel phone to start ringing, and on the other side of the line, the one, the only Mickey Mouse will be waiting for you to pick up so he can personally greet you and remind you that it's time to start your Disney day. Just be warned, that hotel phone ringer is real shrill. I've woken up to many a jump scare because of it, but I gotta admit, it does wake you up. Okay, the next thing you don't want to do in a Disney World hotel room is overpay. Disney World hotel rooms are expensive enough. Don't wind up paying more than you really need to. For example, if your 3 main hotel room priorities are 1, it's close to the parks, 2, it has the early theme park entry benefit, and 3, it gives you a place to conk out each night after a full day, then the value resorts can do that just fine without you needing to pay for a whole lot of extra bells and whistles over at a moderate or deluxe. Although the deluxe resorts do have the added extended evening hours perk, and they've also got a lot of premium extras that make their price point a little bit more palatable. if you plan on making a full vacation day out of their extra offerings. So if you don't plan on spending a full day at your hotel, then don't pay for a higher end one when a value will still keep you rested, keep you clean, keep a roof over your head, and keep you immersed in the Disney. Whichever resort model you do decide to book though, make sure to check out Disney World's special offers, deals, and discounts page for any extra vacation package and resort savings that you could potentially apply to your upcoming stay. Need help finding the best deal on a Disney World resort stay? You might want to reach out to our friends at Small World Vacations. That's an authorized Disney travel agency. All of their agents are full-time, nobody does this part-time. And they've been doing it for a long time, and they'll compare different savings to find the best hotel package for you. These folks have been around since 1996. They've saved vacationers so much money over the years, and their services are 100% free. So I'm going to go ahead and link them in the description below, because even if you've traveled to Disney 1,000 times over, it's still nice to have another pair of eyes watching out for those savings, just in case something pops up when you're not looking. And the DFB team will help out with that too. Sign up for the DFB newsletter and I'll alert you about any new Disney special offers I find just as soon as they appear on the Disney World website. I'll link our newsletter in the description below too, because just like Small World Vacations, our newsletter is totally free. It's a resource for you to use. Hooray for free stuff. Next thing you don't want to do in your Disney World hotel room is take it for granted. No one wants to be taken for granted, not even your Disney hotel room. How's about that for a shirt slogan? So even if you do go the cheaper route and purchase a value hotel, you still don't want to take this purchase for granted, meaning use your Disney hotel anytime you need it. If you or someone else in your party is in desperate need for a midday nap, then head back to your hotel and take a midday nap. Are the parks a little too crowded and overwhelming? Escape to your hotel and take a breather. You may even want to check out your resort pool while you're at it, or grab something to eat at one of the resort's food courts. Feeling queasy or under the weather? Go back to your room, get some much-needed R&R, or take a quick trip back to the hotel to drop off any big souvenir purchases you may have picked up earlier in the day, since merchandise delivery still has yet to return to the Disney World hotels. Whatever the case may be, use your hotel room when you need it. It can be a vital asset to keeping you rested and keeping you ready to navigate the parks the rest of the vacation. Next up, and this one might not be for everybody, but there's a few of you out there who are going to benefit from this one. You don't want to rely on Disney hairdryers. Now, maybe we just have a bone to pick when it comes to taking a bath in a Disney hotel, or maybe it's because I'm always cranky and ready to hit the hay when I have to take one, either or. But I can no longer hold back my true feelings. We have major beef with those dinky resort hairdryers. They just don't have a lot of oomph, you know? Even when you blast that heat on its high mode, you're not gonna get much power from them. And if you have thicker hair and you need to dry it before your head hits the pillow because you don't want to sleep on a super wet pillow, then expect to be standing there drying your hair for a very long time, which isn't just annoying for you, but for everyone else in your room who's trying to go to bed and has to listen to the hairdryer for the next 45 minutes. Now, if you have a hairdryer back home that you know is more reliable, then it may benefit you to make some space in your suitcase for that. All right, another thing you definitely don't want to do in a Disney World hotel room is bring forbidden items. Now, for the most part, stuff you can't bring into the parks is the same stuff you can't bring into your hotel room. This especially goes for things like weapons, even if they're solely for self-defense purposes, like pepper spray, for instance. But there are some things that you can bring into your hotel room that aren't allowed in the parks. For instance, you can't bring alcohol into the parks, but you can bring it to your room as long as you're 21 and over and drink responsibly, etc. The resort gift shops will even have specialty Disney wines for sale and a meager selection of beers and seltzers if you're interested. You can also keep glass baby food jars in your hotel room, but you won't be able to bring them onto park property. You'll have to transfer baby food into a plastic container before taking it into the park, since Disney World doesn't want to worry about potential broken glass on their walking paths that could potentially harm animals and other guests. Next up, you don't want to leave something crucial behind. Leaving your hotel room after your Disney World vacation is sad enough, but leaving something behind in the process could make those post-vacation blues even more powerful. And that's why it's so important to double, triple, quadruple check every inch and corner, nook and cranny of your hotel room before you tell it so long. Check drawers. Check the in-room safe. Please check the in-room safe. You know I've told the story before of leaving my passport in a safe on a Disney Cruise Line ship, and I had to talk my way back onto the ship to get my passport. Check under the beds, check the bathtub, check everywhere to make sure you're not leaving anything behind. For the most part, I try to pack everything I need to pack the night before, and I try convincing my family to do the same, though that can sometimes be easier said than done. But this way, I'm not rushing to cram everything back in my luggage the morning of departure, which is frantic enough as it is, especially if you're trying to make it down to the bus stop in time to catch your super early morning Mears Connect shuttle. Now, if you do accidentally leave something behind, like your weighted Stitch plushie or your well-loved blankie that's going to make a kiddo very upset when they get home and find out it's missing, head to chargerback.com as soon as you get the chance. The Chargerback website is where you can report any lost or left behind items to see if Disney can help you track those down. You just have to fill out a short series of questions, including descriptions of the lost item, where you lost it, and contact information. Then you'll receive an email with your lost item claim number. After 48 hours or sooner, you should get an email with an update about the stranded cargo, and if Disney does find it, they'll be able to ship it back home to you free of charge. Next thing you want to be really careful of in Disney hotels is Mickey balloons. There's a part 2 of the forbidden items list, and it involves these balloons. Disney balloons are a fun and slightly obnoxious Disney souvenir to invest in, and for the most part, you'll be able to carry them around just about anywhere on Disney World property. But you cannot take those Mickey balloons to Disney's Animal Kingdom or Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. For the safety of the animals on site, the Animal Kingdom areas of the Disney property have deemed the Disney balloons as major no-goes. So if you're booking a room at Disney's Animal Kingdom, go ahead and break it to your kids ahead of time that buying a Disney balloon at Magic Kingdom isn't going to be in the cards this time around. But once they get a look at the Savannah views, the idea of a balloon might be overshadowed anyways, because now you've got your very own giraffe. Any other resort stay, however, they're going to welcome your balloons with open arms. Just don't get freaked out by your balloon at 2 a.m. when you have to get up to use the restroom and it's like floating in the corner of your hotel room like a lingering ghost, because yeah, that will happen. All right, next thing not to do in your Disney hotel room is forget your own shampoo. Now, this is another one that's weirdly specific, but I feel like it needs to be addressed because for some of you, this is a huge deal. Some Disney World hotels have bathtubs while some have strictly showers, and that could be an extremely important resort factor for you, especially if you're traveling with babies and toddlers who need a bathtub to bathe in. So remember to check in on that before making your hotel purchase. Anyway, whichever bathroom setup you get, you'll notice that Disney's been pulling away from the individual bottles of soap and conditioner and body wash, and instead they're using those full-size bottles that are mounted onto the tub shower wall. Now, there's 2 issues with these. First up, they're using 2 different types of full-size bottles and dispense technology. You can get full-size bottles with sort of pumps at the top, and you can get full-size bottles with buttons that dispense the stuff out of the bottom. Now, the pumps at the top, those are really kind of difficult to use, and sometimes they don't work at all. The buttons where you have the liquid come out the bottom, those work a little bit better. Anyway, that's problem number 1 that you might want to be prepared for, and a reason you might want to bring your own stuff. You just don't know what you're going to get. But problem number 2, if you decide to take a bath, or if you're trying to give your little one a bath, then those mounted shampoo bottles can be pretty inconvenient because they're so high up. Now, every now and then, I do like to take a bath in a Disney World hotel room. I know some of you think that's gross, but what can I say? But when you do that, you have to keep standing up to get the soap, and that can be a huge hassle too. So if that's you, if you like to take baths and you like to wash your hair in the bath, then go ahead and bring your own stuff. I know, like I said, weirdly specific, but it's going to help someone out there. All right, part 3 of the forbidden things in your hotel room, and then I promise I'm moving on, but I thought it was important to mention that you cannot, I repeat, cannot smoke in your Disney hotel room. That goes for any kind of smoking, including vaping too. That being said, there are designated smoking areas located at each of the hotels, which you can ask the front desk about upon check-in. There, done with the forbidden items now. Let's move along. The next thing you don't want to do in a Disney hotel room is settle. I don't have to remind you again that you're going to end up paying a good chunk of change for your Disney hotel, because you are, and that means you're going to want to feel like what you paid for was worth it. So if you walk into your hotel room for the first time and you notice something's off, like the toilet isn't flushing right, or the AC doesn't seem to be running like it should, or you can't find the TV remote, or the TV's just not working, I often will walk into a room and the lights aren't working. Then tell someone at the front lobby. You don't have to accept that as your fate and pay all that money for that particular room. Now, for assistance, you can always walk to the front desk if you'd prefer to talk to a cast member face-to-face, but you can also call the front desk to see if you can change your room, or if it's something that can be fixed, you can call for maintenance help on your hotel room phone, like the wake-up call button. There's a button for housekeeping and maintenance too, and a button for the front desk. So don't just settle for the room you've been given if there's something wrong with it. See if you can get moved to a different room, or see if you can get that thing fixed so that the rest of your trip is a good one. Next thing you don't want to do in your Disney World hotel room is skip out on the free energy boost. There is liquid gold available in your room, so don't miss out. Every Disney World hotel room has a coffee pot, and next to that coffee pot, you'll find everything you need to brew yourself a complimentary cup of coffee with creamers, sugar, stirring sticks, and most importantly, the coffee packets. So don't worry about needing to purchase your caffeine once you get to the parks. Just make it in your room and save that extra time and money. Also, when you're in your Disney World hotel room, please don't destroy it. I know this seems like a no-brainer, but I used to be a hotel room housekeeper, and you'd be amazed at some of the things I've seen. So keeping your Disney hotel room tidy is more important than ever before. I know you're not going to go Godzilla on your hotel room or anything, but keep in mind that housekeeping looks a whole lot different than it used to. So instead of having your room cleaned daily the way things used to work before the closures happened, housekeeping now only comes by the rooms every other day. And instead of a full housekeeping service, it'll be a lighter version where cast members will remove trash, replace used towels and amenities, wipe down the bathroom vanity and counters, and vacuum if needed. So if you want to come back from the parks with your bed made and your place looking great on the daily, you may end up having to do a lot of that yourself. And you definitely will if you're staying at a Disney Vacation Club villa, since they'll only have housekeeping services on the 4th and 8th days of a guest's visit. Of course, if you're running out of a certain amenity and need it replaced before housekeeping services are scheduled, you can always call down and make your request known. Housekeeping can bring up more towels or coffee or clean sheets just as soon as they can. You can also opt out of housekeeping altogether if you'd rather handle all the tidying yourself. Just let guest services know while you're checking in, or call the front desk to decline cleaning service while you're there. And don't worry, even if housekeeping isn't as frequent as it used to be, Disney does still make sure every room is thoroughly sanitized before the next guests arrive. Now, this one is also kind of a, well, duh kind of situation, but sometimes it needs to be reiterated. You don't want to ruin the appliances in your Disney hotel room. Remember how we were talking about Disney hotel room kitchens earlier? Yeah, let's get back to why these additional amenities can be really important. In a standard Disney World room, you'll have the basics, which is usually a coffee pot, a mini fridge, possibly a toaster, an iron, and that means getting things prepped from inside your room can be tricky, especially if you've got a room that doesn't include a microwave. But this is no time to start getting creative and using the resources you do have to cook your meals. Because if you start using these appliances for means other than the true purpose they serve, you could wind up ruining the appliance entirely, and Disney's not going to let that slide. So if you don't want to have to pay to replace these items, then don't misuse them. Now, we've come a long way from using the coffee pot to make our oatmeal, which I know we used to do back in the day. And now you can pick up foods to eat back in your room that won't require a whole lot of extra prep work, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, protein bars, fruits and veggies, and trail mix snacks. Or get yourself some oatmeal and just use the hot water from your coffee pot instead of actually making the oatmeal in a coffee pot. And then, of course, you can plan on investing in a room with a kitchen or a kitchenette. Even the half-sized kitchenettes will at least provide you with a microwave for all your instant noodle needs. Now, this next one's really, really fun. Don't go to your Disney World hotel room and not make it your own. You want to add a little spice, right? For the remainder of your vacation, your hotel room will be your home away from home, so don't forget to jazz it up for the season to give it a little more personality. Lots of guests like to get into the spirit of their vacation, especially when they're visiting around the holidays. They'll put up tinsel and lights and banners in their windows for Christmas time, or around Halloween, we've seen guests put out candy bowls for the cast members and other guests who happen to stroll by their rooms. Really fun. Now, seasonal decor is wildly popular over at Fort Wilderness Campground, where the cabins and RVs will go all out with those lights and inflatables and holiday cheer. They've even got golf cart decorating contests and parades that you can either participate in or watch if you'd like. But as always, you'll want to double check the Disney World Resort website to make sure what you're decorating with is going to be allowed. Though Disney's super cool with your fun decorations and actually encourages it, you won't be allowed to do things that'll disturb other guests, like any decorations that make loud sounds, for instance. Nor will you be able to decorate with items that could potentially damage the room, so don't be nailing up stuff or applying stickers close to the windows that are going to leave that tacky residue behind. Want to have some special decor already in your room before your arrival? Then you can check out the Disney Floral and Gifts website ahead of time. But heads up, those things are expensive. The costs do vary depending on what style you choose, but if you want things decked out beforehand, then that's an option. The next thing you don't want to do in your Disney World hotel is rely on the Wi-Fi. Okay, it's not that bad, but it's not always perfect. So Disney World Wi-Fi is free, and that's wonderful, but the Wi-Fi itself might be spottier than you'd like, especially if you're trying to make phone calls. I've had very spotty service, which I guess technically isn't Wi-Fi, but I will just add that into this point too, that the phone service can be spotty as well. Anyway, spotty Wi-Fi can be a major headache. So if you're trying to secure your first lightning lanes of the day, or you're trying to snag a boarding pass for the latest Disney World ride, or even if you're just trying to get on social media and post about all the fun you're having, here are some tips. For a stronger Wi-Fi signal, you may want to head to the Disney World lobby where a direct connection may be stronger. But if internet is vital for your stay, which could be the case if you'll have to jump on a virtual conference call or finish up a work project during your trip, I'd also recommend looking into staying at resorts that have a full business center. So business centers offer copying services, printing, computer access, etc. And you can find these business centers over at Yacht and Beach Club, Coronado Springs, Grand Floridian, Boardwalk Inn, and Disney's Contemporary Resort. Now, there are lots and lots of tips for what to do if you're trying to get that early morning boarding pass or lightning lane. And a lot of times people will recommend just getting off of Disney Wi-Fi altogether and just using your regular phone Wi-Fi. And the next thing not to do in your Disney World hotel room is ignore the TV resort menu. The first channel on your Disney Hotel TV is going to give you all the feels. This will be the main resort channel, Walt Disney World Today, which will play catchy instrumental Disney melodies while also rotating through pictures of the different park icons and giving you the park hours, etc. And it's really nice to see, but what makes this channel even better is that it tells you important info that you need to know before you head into the parks. Those park hours are there, show times, local weather forecasts, etc. And if you turn to the next channel, you see a similar setup, only this time it'll show you specific offerings and activities for your hotel. So yes, although this is a channel that'll give you straight up good vibes, it'll also give you straight up good info. Now, if you were nervous at the start of this video, thinking that making your Disney hotel stay comfy and cozy was going to be complicated, hopefully this list has shown you that it's easier than you may think. Just know the rules, plan ahead, and don't forget to have a little fun while you're at it. You're sleeping inside the Disney bubble after all. Might as well make the most out of the experience. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.